Redevelopment Commission public meeting agenda. Sorry for that brief delay. We're going to forego Pledge of Allegiance. We did that already this evening, but roll call, please.
Mr. Vick?
Yes, here.
And Mr. Burnham may not realize he needs to join the second Zoom, so he may still be with us. I'll put him as absent for now. Mr. Spencer?
Here.
Mr. Hunley?
Here.
Mr. Niemeyer?
Present.
Ms. Sterkowitz is absent. Mr. Smith is absent. Mr. Carnahan is absent. Mr. Salatas?
Present.
Mr. Austin?
Present.
Ms. Sandberg? Here. And Margaret Abernathy present.
All right, thank you, ma'am. Appreciate it. Mr. Burnham indicated he got kicked off the old Zoom, asked if I should go underneath the same old host. I said yes, or is that wrong?
No, he has a separate link.
There's a separate Zoom meeting. Okay. Is it possible for someone to forward that to him, or?
It should have been emailed to him.
Cliff just said he resent it to him.
Okay. Cliff is out in cyberspace, always watching us.
The eye in the sky.
Yeah.
Hi, Cliff, wherever you are. All right.
He's waving. I can sense it.
Hopefully somewhere warm.
Yeah, I can sense it.
Aaron? Is that you back there? Come on forward.
Okay.
Again, sorry for the brief delay. You got to see
Oh, that's okay.
our local municipality in action, right there. That's right where we have the firing squad. So, and if I have the last name correct, is it Salomon?
That's correct, yep.
All right, and Aaron is the office manager for LM Premier Dance, and you are here on behalf of the owner, Lynn Galatka?
Yes.
All right, well, Aaron, welcome.
Thank you.
Approximately 2 years ago, we decided here at the RDC level that we were amiss in not recognizing each month those folks who had decided for the first time to invest in those towns, those folks who for a while had invested in this town, or those folks who for a long time have invested in this town, for the sole purpose of A, saying thank you, B, to highlight the fine work that you folks do, and then C, allow a quick opportunity to put on our Facebook page some of our local businesses to enable folks to say here's who they are and to encourage them to utilize our local businesses. So at our last meeting, LM Premier Dance Studio was nominated. So on behalf of the entire commission, we want to tell you and your bosses thank you for the fine work that you are doing in the community, for putting folks to work, for enabling the talents of young folks here within our town. I know I drove by the other night and there was probably 30 sets of parents that were watching on the big screen TVs as their kids were learning all sorts of things.
Yep.
So tell us a bit about the business you've got going on and kind of your plans for the future.
Wonderful, sure. I'd love to give you just a quick synopsis. This is all coming from the owner, Lynn Galetka. LM Premier Dance used to be Lynn Marie School of Dance in Beecher, Illinois. She was there for 16 years and had a wonderful clientele there, but was ready for a move and considered Cedar Lake just a great place to be, so family friendly, very up and coming, lots of new families moving in, a wonderful school system, and just happy to be there. We moved there in May of 2021, so we had our first full year last year, had a wonderful, lots of participation from, we have kids 2.5 all the way up to age 18 at our studio. We also have a competitive dance team. When we came to Cedar Lake, there was, I think, maybe 28 on the dance team. Our first year we grew to 35. This year now we have 48. So we've experienced incredible growth, gotten to know a lot of new people. Cedar Lake's been nothing but wonderful and welcoming to us, and so we're happy to be here.
Very cool. Congratulations to you and all the fine folks over there. Any comments from the commission?
Well, as a longtime recovering dance dad,
Okay, great.
my daughter started in dance here in Cedar Lake at Cedar Beach Arts Center
Okay.
under the direction of Monica Vecchio when she was 2.5.
Right.
And she danced at then Donna Brum Dance and
Okay.
then at 413 Studio in Crown Point and finished. She's now at the University of Alabama, not dancing anymore. That's why I say I'm a recovering dance dad.
So you
But I
put
can-
in the time. You
I
put
can
in
tell
the
you,
time.
oh my gosh, the time and the money. I've spent as much as a college education on dance.
Right.
So people don't realize that costumes for all these dances, and my daughter used to be in 9 competitive numbers.
Oh, wow, yeah.
So we would have a costume bill of about $2,500 for her competition.
But they were beautiful costumes, weren't they?
Oh, they were wonderful.
They were worth it.
But they would wear them once.
Right.
For one
Right.
competition season, then they were gone.
Mhm.
But there's a part of her dance education that she carries with her, and it just helped her have some success recently. She went to Alabama for nursing.
Okay.
And part of the getting into the nursing program is you have to be invited for an interview and then interview. And one of the things I always tell people that performance art, even if you never used a performance art in your life, the idea of being able to get in front of people and execute a plan is something you can use the rest of your life. So the 6-figure number we invested in her years of dance just got her into nursing school on her first try, which is almost unheard of.
Right.
They have a very competitive nursing school there, and they took 50 students out of all of them that applied. So I give her dance education the credit for that. So a lot of kids won't dance once they're past 18.
Right.
But the things you teach them, and I want anybody who's watching this to know the things that they learn have such incredible value for their whole life.
Well, and I would
building that
reiterate
self-
that is the main focus for the owner, Lynn Galletka. That's why she started the studio in the first place, because she loves to pour into the lives of the youth and teach those sorts of things to mostly young women who are going, out into the world to make their way.
I was a dancing dad also for 5 years, and the MC of the yearly recital.
Oh, fun.
So I got to help manage backstage, so I had the full experience. But the thing that has stuck with me for my own time in performance art when I was younger, and then my daughter, is the ability to be under pressure and just nail it. Like,
Right.
there's a confidence and a self-esteem that these young people get from what you do. And from what I've heard about your studio, like, some of us recovering dance parents are like, man, I wish they'd have been here 10
Right.
years ago, because it'd
That's
been
very
great
nice.
to not have to drive to Cherville.
Yeah.
Although we love Donna Brum and Tracy Keene, who ran the place, are great people, but keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you.
It's going to help to build our youth into leaders as they grow up.
I agree.
Yep.
Did you perform with at Hanover?
So I had the pleasure of going to one of your recitals for my,
You
you're right, for my, was she 4 then? 3.5, 4-year-old?
Okay.
And she's already fairly confident in herself, and what have you there, but I was impressed with the confidence of all the girls
Oh, good.
that were out there, and then the whole group of the girls, and it kept going and going, and this was over at Lake Central Auditorium there.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and it was, and I said, boy, this has got to be a great thing for our town. This is really, something great that we have in this town here. So
You'll realize the benefits 20 years from now.
Will I?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, right. I already heard the story about this.
As they turn into adults,
It's going to get expensive,
incredible.
but they love that. They love the
That's
dress.
so nice
They
to
love
hear.
being the princess. I'm going to call.
Oh, my goodness, yeah.
Yes.
Recital day is wild, and it is, what you guys see is like the performance, the backstage. Whoa. It is so costumes, they're off on, makeup, hair, all the.
I used to get the task of when you had a dancer that had only a one dance in between,
Right,
of going out and ad-libbing for an extra 3 or 4
so
minutes,
that she could change.
which people that know me know I have a really hard time just getting up in front of folks and talking.
Yeah.
Dave will tell you, I'm really shy with a microphone.
It's almost as if you're blaming or stating the whole reason for your career is because of your daughter's dance.
I'm telling you, performance art, though, it changes young people. It's something that brings out a part of them that when they become adults, they don't even realize they're using it. But you can tell the kids that as they become adults, had some training.
Right.
Because they just have a different way to approach things. There's not this attitude of, I don't know if I can do it. They're like, okay, I'm going to practice this, I got a plan, I'm going to execute it. And that's what you guys do, is teach that, so it's awesome.
Well, we're having a great time doing it, so.
And I got to say kudos to you. There was one girl that I guess, physically challenged in some way. And yet, I get the feeling, the impression that she's been with you for quite a few years. And you do include her in some of the dances, and MS or something like that, but she's out there and she's having a good time.
She loves it, yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, that was her last year, at the recital last year, because
Okay.
she's 18.
She's too old?
She had been with Lynn since she was 2, so, great
that's great.
family, and yeah, I know it's
Yeah.
a wonderful thing for her and the family, so,
Cool, very cool.
yeah.
Well, Aaron will come down, we'll take a picture,
Okay,
pass this along to the fine folks over there, and pass along our thanks.
thanks for having us tonight, really appreciate it.
And Aaron, if you could get a picture of you passing this off to Lynn Marie at the meeting, why instead of her face to face?
Okay,
Come on, guys.
I'm gonna definitely make her do that, because I didn't know there was gonna be pictures.
I may or may not have disclosed that to her.
Yep.
All right.
So we have to stand on this side of her?
Sure.
Wonderful, I think.
We need Chris involved here.
You don't need me in the photo.
All right. Say Ellen dance.
Ellen Dan.
All right, one more.
All right.
Okay. Looks
We're
good,
good.
guys.
Thank you, ma'am, appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks for coming to that recital. This is a grandchild you have in here?
Knowing your daughter, school.
Okay. She's new this year. We love her. She's such a little sweetheart. Okay.
I just wonder, I see how it feels. She knows
Yeah, so you better be at recital this year.
Yep. I get it.
Can't describe that.
I get it.
That's why
We're going to my girls.
approved Aaron does is so important.
Yeah, it is.
Here we go.
Teaches kids.
It doesn't need to be danced.
I didn't know that about years old, you know.
Teaches kids those skills of life that take time
waiting for him to show the move.
Yeah, you have to bust the move.
All right, good stuff. Let's move on with our consent agenda. Approval of the August 15, 2022 meeting minutes, as well as claims fund number 404, the amount of $1,100.54, and 804, the amount of $17,186.75. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved. Second.
All right, discussion.
Big money.
Looks like we've got payments to engineer, Veritas Group, Cronin Associates. All good things. Any questions? All right.
Was that second by Mr. Hunley?
Yes.
Thank you.
Hearing none, roll call, please.
Mr. Hunley?
Yes.
Mr. Spencer?
Yes.
Mr. Niemeyer?
Yes.
Mr. Burnham?
Yes.
Mr. Vitt?
Yes. All right, that passes 5-0. Welcome back, Mr. Burnham. All right, new business. We have our Explore Everyday Community Recognition nomination. What is the pleasure of the commission?
I'd like to recommend All Tire Service. It's a local business, employs about 5 or 6 people. There are 2 young men that were born, I don't know if they're born, but raised in Cedar Lake.
Yeah.
And they opened their own business. And it's I'd say customer-friendly business. I've been there, had some service done, seen some service done, and they work with people.
Very good, Mr. Hunley. Where are they located?
They're up on 41, behind the car lot next to McDonald's.
Okay.
They're behind Grand Prize Cars.
Yeah, behind it.
Okay. Is there support for that motion?
Second.
Second by Mr. Niemeyer. Discussion. I think that sounds like a fine addition. Roll call?
Mr. Hunley?
Yes.
Mr. Spencer?
Yes.
Mr. Niemeyer?
Yes.
Mr. Burnham?
Yes.
Mr. Vitt?
Yes. And then Margaret, you and I can work together and collaborate on that letter to them to invite them to our next meeting. Very good, thanks. All right, we've got facade grant assessment.
If I may, Mr. Chairman?
Yes, ma'am, go ahead, please.
Last year, approximately in March, you asked me to put this on the agenda each year for a reevaluation of the facade grant program for October meeting.
Yes, indeedy. And we had put off, if I recall correctly, expending any funds until after midway through the year at the advice of several persons involved. And we've taken a look at what our future cash flow is going to look like into the new year. I'm not sure we have to make a decision this evening, but what is the pleasure of the commission? Is the use of the facade grant program something we want to continue? And if so, what amount do we want to potentially set aside for its use in 2023?
Mr. Chairman?
Go ahead.
So in looking at what we're tackling right now and comparing it to the lifetime of the TIF, obviously we're issuing a tax rate for the $11.9 million for the fire station portion of the public safety complex. We've had Corby working on some analysis as it relates to other funding sources for the police portion of this, and we've identified TIF as that possible source because we have such a short period of time. You can't necessarily leverage too much against large infrastructure projects just because there's not enough time for it. So we have kind of limited uses left, and if we restrict our cash flow with the facade grant program, it may cause some issues from what is that?
Mr. Hunley's chair.
Oh, okay. It may cause some issues when it comes to debt service on some of the responsibilities that's going to go with that public safety facility. So in my opinion, that I think that kind of putting a pause on that until we do a full scoping of the financial impact of the public safety facility would be wise.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, we're going to see with the increase in the tax rate that's going to help pay for the public safety facility as well as the new parks department, we're going to see an increase in TIF collections. So we're going to see a cash flow increase, but we still don't want to overburden that cash flow increase because we do have the lake ecosystem restoration up against it. We have several other debt service that we're still making, and Jen is chomping at the bit to say something, so I'm going to sit here and shut up and listen.
Thank you. I'm going to, if it's okay, Mr.
Please,
Chairman,
go ahead.
I'm going to roll into my fund report.
Yep.
If you'll allow it, on my updated financial report to you, we are at the point in time that we warned you of where we have very limited cash balances. So what I will be doing is, if you'll remember, for a little over a year now, you've had that $234,103.94 just kind of saved off at Trust Indiana. It's really not earning anything because rates are practically non-existent right now. It's just been kind of a safe holding spot for you guys for that cash. But now's the point where I need to pull it back because we need it, exactly as Randy just said, for our debt obligations, because for the remainder of this year, I need to be able to transfer $151,737.51 in order to meet what we have to for the remainder of this year. Not only that, we still have outstanding for the Parish Avenue project. We have not closed out that project yet, so we have approximately $109,269.42 remaining of that project that has to be paid out of TIF because that's what we had allocated. But with the current cash balance, what I hold in the bank right now for that fund, as well as, you know, that $234,000 from trust that I'm going to pull and bring back, it's still going to be cutting it close for the remainder of the year because we traditionally do not get the fall settlement until like the second to last day of the year. So I really can't count on the settlement in order to do anything for us. That's going to have to run us for the first 6 months of next year. And we, first and foremost, we have to meet our debt obligations. So at this point in time, unfortunately, you don't have the cash to do anything.
Well, we are doing something. We're putting it to use with good projects that have happened in the past 6 months to 12 months.
Yeah, we were doing this facade grant program as a way to reinvest in the taxpayers that have invested in the community. But obviously, with some of these large-scale municipal projects that we're working on that have long-term benefit for everybody, this is why this commission was first formed back 20 years ago. So, it's important for us to remember the purpose and say, okay, we'll get down to the nitty-gritty, roll up our sleeves, and get some work done here the next 7 years.
And I think I can appreciate Jen is going to be puckering here, so to speak, in the next 2 months, wondering how we're gonna pay for it, but I think it's a good problem to have, because we have put all this money to work, and,
You can see
you know,
it, you can see where it's been put.
with past advice, we've set aside some funds. We've got Doug's fund of $234,000 that now we can unleash and put to work, so that's a good thing. And we just heard earlier this evening, I mean, our first draw next year, we're gonna already say have an additional $40,000 because of amending the scope of what we have out there. We're gonna have another $40,000 in December again. I mean, already we're reaping rewards.
And then you've got a higher tax rate, plus when you go to 2023's AV increase is about 18%. So you're gonna be able to apply that against the tax rate as well, that's gonna get you a little more cash flow.
Additional $250,000.
Yeah, so we're on the right track, but Jen's right. We've gotta kind of circle the wagons here, utilize what we have on hand as a way to make sure that we start the next year with that cash balance from the fall draw that makes the management of the first half of the year that much easier.
Two things, Jen, we can borrow if necessary from the utility fund, right? The RDC may?
Town council can.
I was gonna say council, I imagine there's some how would that work?
And there'd have to be a temporary loan transfer
Okay.
between the two bodies, the town council as fiscal and you as redevelopment.
Yeah, but we're not there yet. Okay.
Do you have any businesses that are submitting,
Hope to avoid that too.
request for the facade grant program?
It's my understanding that there had been a pause put on that, correct?
Yeah.
On applications. Currently, right now, you have 3 that were already approved, I think a rollover from 20, a rollover from 21, and then we're just waiting on for Dan, right?
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I've got those 3 put in my notes here, that way if something happens before the end of the year, because since you have already approved those applicants, that if they're ready to rock and roll and you're ready to approve their payout, we can make the payout for them.
Okay.
And honestly, other than for Dan, I've only received one other phone call this year regarding a grant application. And I need to call him back because I told him that you guys were discussing this at the meeting and that I would call him back after tonight's meeting. It was just within the last
Yep.
2 weeks.
I think based upon what I'm hearing, my suggestion to the commission is that we hold off on re-entertaining opening up the facade grant program until probably at the earliest April or May of next year. It really won't be until probably after our first draw that we'll really have a sense of, A, the cost for the eco restoration project, other projects in town, as to whether or not we have to hold off another year before we re-entertain applications.
Hold off until the first quarter is over next year?
I think so.
Can we say until,
I would,
No date, but just a
I would actually think that it might be better to hold off through the second quarter of next year. That way you get halfway through the year, and it gives you a chance to kind of project some things out, see where your 2024 cash flows might land, get some estimates put together. Because we're still in this situation where we may see a correction of 10% in AVs, right? And if you see something like that, you're gonna have a little shrinkage in, or at least, I shouldn't say shrinkage, but you're gonna see a stabilization of cash flows. You're not gonna see the growth of it. So I would, if it would be okay with the chairman, make a motion to pause this facade grant program through the second quarter of 2023.
to be revisited in July of 2023. Yep. Is there a
I
second
won't
to
be
that
here
motion?
then, but
I'll second that.
just gives everybody time to do some assessment.
We will also still have a draw in, I believe, the first quarter for the Summer Winds facade that was passed the previous meeting. So we'll have some expenses coming out in that first half of the year.
Okay. Is there support for that motion?
I second it.
Eric seconded it.
All right, Mr. Burnham's got support on that, thank you. Any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Mr. Hunley?
Yes.
Mr. Spencer?
Yes.
Mr. Niemeyer?
Yes.
Mr. Burnham?
Yes.
Mr. Viss?
Yes. All right, vote passes 5-4. Thanks to Chris, thanks to Margaret, thanks to Jen for your close attention to our finances. Much appreciated. I know you're going to be growing some gray hairs as we look at this the rest of the year, but we'll get through it. I'm confident that we will. So thank you for your close attention to it.
We'll look like Doug in July.
In July.
All right, moving along here, project updates. Jen, anything else in addition to the clerk treasurer's funds report from your angle?
No, that was my big one. I just wanted to point out to you that I will be pulling that money from Trucks Indiana so that we can continue on with the remainder of the year.
Is there any motion of any form that's required to pull that out? Either, that's a question to Jen or Dave. I don't believe so, but
I believe it's only 24 hours notice.
Yeah, it's pretty, the trust account's pretty liquid. Like, I'll have it before the end of the week, so long as I put in what I need to tomorrow.
okay, very good.
It's a good thing that money's not in the market, or else it'd have lost 40% or something.
Bitcoin's coming back, though, we did discuss that.
Whatever.
It's only 25%.
I'm investing in mattresses.
All right.
Ball jars.
Facade grant updates. Margaret, your end?
I just talked to Pastor Ken Quint the other day. He's been the one that kind of keeps me updated. They're still trying to get that last invoice. I said if they paid with check and they can get me a copy of the canceled check, that should work. But that has not come through yet. I spoke with Dawn Crawford with the Cedar Lake Storage, and she thinks she's going to have everything to me before the November meeting, but if not, she'll be at the November meeting to ask for a slight extension on their grant.
Okay. Any questions on facade grants? Hearing none, moving along to financial analysis, TIP projects. I know Corby's not with us, but I believe everything that we've been working on the past year has culminated in this evening. Dave or Chris, any follow-up comments to what went on the last hour and a half?
Yeah, I described it in my office as the most important week in Cedar Lake in a long time. That's what's going on here tonight, starting tonight. And
This
we'll
stuff
have-
is fun. I'm sorry, I like this.
This is
Yeah.
set up the town for the next 25 years.
There's no
Yeah,
question.
this is big.
Yeah. No, I agree. So kudos, I think, Randy, to you especially, you had the vision back, starting for this year, but at the beginning of this year to say, let's bring on folks who are outside of us, and then collaborate with Dave and Chris's strengths and their team to really move it forward and to give the base to say we've got the financial wherewithal to do big things like this. So kudos, and I know you're moving on to a broader representation of folks, but thank you. You're not done here yet, but thank you.
Oh, sir,
because
I do not have it in neutral.
I know you don't.
You can have Chris. We have almost daily conversations, and we are full steam ahead on stuff, and making sure that we get all the right pieces in place, that the next people can just keep going.
You calling him from burner phone, so he picks up thinking it's somebody else?
Not only does he not have a neutral, I don't know if there's a slow gear there either.
No, not much.
Full speed ahead.
But I appreciate the compliment, but I'm really kind of a product of what we built here as a team, and some of the vision I've shared here that people have taken and said we can do this is because we have a great team, and our clerk treasurer is one of them that's really on a very rapid growth ascent when it comes to being a business manager. So there's a lot of confidence here in everybody in this group, and being able to execute these big projects and then have the next pieces in place takes Chris, it's going to take Jen, these people that are internal here every day and managing this massive effort. And I have just it brings me a lot of joy to have this team here, and I can't wait to kind of be outside of the inside to just watch it. I want to see how it takes shape. It's going to be really fun to watch this thing develop over the next decade, where the last decade I was involved, in the next decade I'll be like, you said, I'll be a little different service to the community. But, really cool, but compliments to Jen and Chris and our team that we're putting together, and Dave and Phil and Corby and Margaret for keeping us all organized. There's a lot more things to put the check mark on, but, boy, we're on the way. So, great job to everybody here, thanks.
Can only echo that. Jen, I've worked with 3 clerk treasurers so far, and I'll say this one's my favorite. Which, if you watch some of the meetings around the county, it's not much of a contest. But growing up in Lowell and having been Cedar Lake and all around, it's amazing what this town has going on for itself. And the position that the council and all the committees themselves have collaboratively pulled together and have set the town up for, it's just something, it almost reminds me like Rudy or something like the Hoosiers, where it's a perfect story, and it's not yet done. And I think
It's actually just beginning.
as Randy had said, Cedar Lake's golden era was not in the 1920s, it's going to be in the 2020s.
Right now.
I agree wholeheartedly with that. I get many, many phone calls from folks wondering where's the next place to be, and you cited just a couple of things.
Well, you know, in your professional life with real estate and stuff, there's not too many markets hotter than this. And even with the economic question marks, people are still interested. They want to be a part of this because they know that the next step here is a big one.
Yep.
So, good stuff.
No, good stuff all around. With that said, I would request, Margaret, if we can have an executive session next meeting, please, for a half hour before our next meeting. If everyone can make it, that would be much appreciated. We've got a couple projects that we need to circle the wagons on, we can talk about before that meeting.
That'll be post-election, thank God. Can't wait for that.
We'll see if Randy still has his voice at that point.
I'll be fine.
Okay, good.
Either way, I look forward to November 9th.
You won't lose the voice.
All right, any written communications? None, anything from the commission?
Nothing here?
Anything, Dave?
I'm very close to bringing you an agreement that we are negotiating with IDEM's attorneys on the Lutz case, and it looks pretty favorable considering what the property owner did not do with regard to premium payments and like.
Will it allow Jen to sleep at night?
No.
No.
Oh.
No, we're gonna make her real nervous over the next half a decade.
Not that good.
We're gonna make her real nervous.
I'm just putting pressure on you, Dave, and we
Yeah.
want Jen to sleep well at night, so keep pushing.
That's been hanging there since...
Tell Whitmire to push.
That's been
There
hanging
you
there
go.
for years.
I'll tell them tomorrow.
All right, good.
Yeah.
Anything from the public, sir? Well, thank you very much for attending. You are always welcome to attend. I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
We are adjourned. Thank you.